Hi everyone, and welcome to this lightning talk on the state of open source technology in clinical data analysis, reporting, and submissions. My name is Michael Rimler, and I am a Director of Programming at GSK, but I come to you today as Open Source Technologies Director at PHUSE. Over the next 15 minutes, I'll be joined by some of my peers across the industry to share a vision we have for a comprehensive digest of everything the industry currently knows about using open source technology for clinical data analytics. We hope that in about 1 year's time, we can publish a manuscript detailing answers to the most common questions as organizations travel on their own open source journey. We envision this manuscript to not just cite, but also quote experts across the industry that have been tackling some of the most pressing problems related to integrating open source solutions into their data pipelines, which are subject to good clinical practice requirements and other GxP expectations. Our primary aim here is to create a citable and referenceable resource for industry practitioners in a crowdsourced way to stop the swirl of conversations that happen when good people and smart people get together to solve this challenge. What questions have we asked and already answered? What questions have we nearly answered, and what have we not yet answered? By chronicling what we already know, we can stop revisiting those questions and move on to the challenges looming on the horizon. As well, if you are driving your organization's journey and your budget holders or key decision makers are hesitant to support, if they perceive risk associated with the move towards open source, we hope that this manuscript will serve as the primary source of reference to mitigate much of that risk. Now, I've created a core team of industry leaders who are fluent in this space. They are Katya Glass of Katya Glass Consulting and CDISC Open Source Alliance board member, Mike Stackhouse, Chief Innovation Officer from Atoris and PHUSE Data Visualization and Open Source Technologies Working Group co-lead, and Mike Smith from Pfizer and lead of their R Center for Excellence. They'll be by in a minute to tell you their why, but let me tell you my why for this project. Quite bluntly, innovation through collaboration moves at a much faster pace than done in isolation. Open source solutions welcome community development and collaboration. And if the result is not meeting the needs of the community, then the community will either just not use it or improve it. And this is the power of open source technology, the potential to quickly meet the ever-changing demands of its users. Now let me briefly pass on to Mike Smith, who will explain a bit more in detail on the how and the what we are gathering from people just like you.
So how are we going to gather input for this manuscript? Well, we're going to do it in a number of different ways. First, we're going to interview key thought leaders and stakeholders across industry and beyond. We'll be reaching out through working groups across PHUSE, RN Pharma, our consortium, and gathering opinions from these people. But we also want to be open to contributions from anyone that wants to join this discussion. We have a GitHub repository where you can contribute through the discussions. We thought that gathering information through GitHub were actually following the open source philosophy in the creation of this manuscript. So anyone can provide contributions, help us refine answers to questions, and of course uncover new questions that we haven't thought of yet. You'll need a GitHub account to access that and comment, but that's a useful thing because it means then we can attribute questions and answers to members of the community. This is important to us because we don't want it to be the thoughts of just a few individuals, but we want it to reflect the opinions and thoughts and answers of a community as a whole. So let's take a look at what you'll see when you go to the GitHub page. When you come to the repository, the first thing you'll see is this README file, which describes what we're trying to do here. And then under the Discussions tab, you'll see all of the questions that we've collated so far. And if you click through into a question, you'll see the answers that we've provided to get people started. You can upvote questions if you think those are higher priority things that need to be answered. And you can upvote answers to those questions if you think that they address the question particularly well. The thing about the questions here, we know that there will be some questions that we don't have answers to. But we're trying to collate what things do we know, what things do we not yet know. And in certain cases, where is a vital point of discussion for the community. So what we would like you to do is to come here to contribute both questions and responses to those questions so that we get the broadest view across the whole community.
Thanks, Mike. Now let's hear from each of the core team members. Why do you want to be a part of this project? What do you see as the value of open source solutions in clinical data analysis?
Open source is the next level of collaboration. In our world where innovation is driven by collective knowledge, open source technology is a cornerstone of this process. But what does it mean for you? In the traditional model, solutions are limited to what is available or to build custom solutions. Specifically, custom solutions are very problematic. To overcome issues, we have created standards like CDISCs, but that's not sufficient. For this, we are now working on interface standards like we do in the Transiliterate Digital Data Flow project. But that's still not sufficient. With open source, we can come to the next level and build generic and adoptable solutions where innovation knows no bounds. It's about breaking down the barriers, breaking down the silos we have, and opening the doors to an unlimited of possibilities along with a focus to generalization and flexibility. Open source can build solutions of our collective intelligence. It's about shared knowledge, shared growth, and shared success. We have conferences to share our processes, ideas, and how-tos. We do have working groups to even dive deep into specific problems and ideas. And open source is then just the next level. It's going even deeper until we do have an implementation as well. So nevertheless, why should you care? Because when we come together, we can achieve much more than we ever would have been thinking would be possible. Open source, it's not just a tool, it's really a movement. It's a call to action for everyone, for individuals, for companies, and for organizations to be part of something bigger. So please join the open source revolution and together let's shape our future of innovation. Open source is the next level of collaboration where we all will make our life easier.
I think this is a really important project to help answer frequently asked questions once and for all. So to capture what we know, the things where we know what the question is but don't yet have an answer, and also to help tease out questions that perhaps we haven't thought of yet, possibly because we're too close to the open source coalface. As we talked about in the recent PHUSE video series on open source technologies in clinical data analytics, I think there's a real value in trying to work together, both as an industry and also with regulatory agencies, to define open source solutions for next generation clinical trial reporting. Industry want to modernize how we do things, but so do the regulators, and for both of us that's getting more information out of our data in order to make good decisions more quickly and efficiently. Many of the problems we face can only really be solved by working together. Either that or every company is going to invest a lot of time, effort and resource to essentially come up with similar but probably slightly different solutions. So if we can work together, we can get there more quickly and have hopefully a more unified approach.
One of the reasons that I'm particularly interested in this project is that if we look across the open source landscape and we look at the different areas of collaboration that already happen, there are so many different groups that have been doing work. You have teams like PHUSE, you have the CDISC Open Source Alliance, you have our consortium, you have work that's been done in ASA, PSI AIMS, and there's all of these different teams that have been collaborating. And there's all of these different projects that have been done out there and work that's been covered. And with my role in my organization, I talk to different businesses, CROs, pharmaceutical companies, and one of the things that I have to do a lot is bring attention to this work. And there's not really an effort that centralizes all of this, that says that this is the work that's been done in this space. These are questions that have been asked and answered. This is ongoing work that's covering this area of focus. So when you're looking at either your organization that's been doing a lot of work, being able to find the work that's been done out there that's addressing specific areas of focus, being able to find where you should be looking for answers to different questions that you might have, and having a central place that you can say, this is the area of focus that we need to be contributing into. This is work that we can pick up and take forward and develop more. We can utilize this. There's not a single place of focus for that at this point in time. So being able to draw attention to that, to really give the state of open source in pharma is a real area of opportunity at the moment, because there's so much excellent work that's been done across these different groups. There's so much different progress and so much progress is being made across the industry. And if you can't find it, it's not serving the greatest purpose that it can. So being able to contribute to a project to really get this down on paper and having that reference that you can give to organizations that are looking at where do I start, where do I pick up what's been done, what knowledge can I capitalize on, and give that its own focus is a real area of opportunity that I think holds a lot of promise.
You've just heard from Michael about the why, the driving force behind this project, and the vital role you play. You've also gained insights from both Mikes on how we envision this project to shaping our future. Now, as we stand at the edge of a new era of data analysis, reporting and submission, remember, open source is the next milestone to automate together. But we can't reach this milestone without you, your expertise, your ideas, your contribution. They are the fuel with the root for open source. Whether you're an open source veteran or just starting your journey, we are inviting you to open source your knowledge in this manuscript. Your voice matters, your perspectives is valuable, and your participation is essential to the success of this initiative. Together we can address the questions we know, uncover the ones we don't, and explore the ones we haven't even asked yet. So there's a call to action. Be part of this movement, join the conversation, share your insights, and help us to drive this innovation forward. Together we can shape the future, and together we can embrace the power of open source. Thank you for being part of this journey, and remember, the future is open source.